the vision for Balancer is to be the leading platform for programmable liquidity in DeFi. So Balancer V1 was all about proving the concept of a product, which is an index fund. Let me pause here. So I'll be pausing frequently for the translation.
Sure. So 就是 Fernando 回答的就是现在的话很多团队都在做这个AMM 的DeFi 项目，但是我们认为DeFi 的这个市场容量是足够给任何人去施展他的才华，然后是可以就是共同生长吧。然后呢，就是 Vision 对Balancer 的 Vision 就是在长期是成为一个领先的这个就是流动的，可以通过编程来释放流动性的一个 DeFi 平台对。Yeah, thanks. Maybe continue.
Sure. So Balancer V1 proved that it's possible to have the investment of your portfolio into an AMM, which automatically rebalances the tokens in your portfolio. So if one of the tokens goes up, then Balancer automatically sells it for the other tokens. So it's a standard index fund. Balancer V2 goes beyond in that it allows projects and teams and protocols to do their own specific logic. So they don't need to do the index fund rebalancing pools. They can do whatever they want. And I can give you some examples of that, but let me pause here.
在 Balancer V1 的时候，它是实现了一个就是说像投资组合的，把它做成像自动做事的模式。然后如果是一个 token 的价格增长的话，它的那个 AMM 会帮你去卖掉，就像那个 index fund 一样，就是像指数基金一样，它是一个被动的一个市场追踪的一个工具。然后的 V2 的话，它是go beyond，就是它是超越了这些限制，然后是可以更多的有这种就是可能更多自主的这个需求吧。对。Okay.
For example, stable pools. Now we have pools that are based on curves, mathematics, or invariant, which allows for tokens that are pegged to the dollar, for example, to have a lot more liquidity around price one. And we also have other teams, and that's the whole vision for Balancer, is for other teams to build their own new types of pools on top of Balancer. We have, for example, Element Finance, who's building this very nice protocol for fixed yield or fixed term DeFi loans. And what they do is interesting. They have a pool that changes the prices of the tokens over time. So it's like an AMM that evolves over time because it's kind of quite complex to explain, but the principal tokens, they change in value over time as they approach the expiry date. So it's an example of another type of logic that uses Balancer V2 that was not possible before with any, and is not possible today with any other AMM.
Can I double check with the name? Like what was it?
Element Finance. Yes.
All right. 所以在这个举个例子来说，这个 V2 的话，它就是可以就是做了一个像 stable pool 一样，它是一个稳定币的流动池。比如说像现在大家常用的这个 Curve， 它是有更多的流动性，但是它没有办法像做到更多的一些参数啊，还有这种设计。但是比如说现在有一个团队，它叫 Element Finance， 它是基于这个 Balancer Pool 上面可以做更多的创新，然后目前没有其他的这种 DeFi 产品可以做像这样子的一个更自主化的，然后满足更多人的需求。然后它这个 Element Finance 它做了一些像 DeFi 的贷款，然后还有就是说DeFi 的贷款还有一些其他的产品。对
，Yeah. So to summarize, the idea of Balancer V2 is really to not just be one single product, which was Balancer V1, but to be a platform for other products to be built. And Balancer V2 has the nice idea of having a single vault It's like one smart contract that holds all the tokens, which makes it very efficient to trade across the whole liquidity of all projects that use Balancer V2. So if someone's trading a token A for B, then all the different projects that are using Balancer V2, they all have their tokens A and B in the same place. So you can use the liquidity from all those different projects without even knowing it, because you just interact with the vault. You send token A to the vault gives you token B back. But under the hood, you're actually tapping into the liquidity of all those projects. So that's the idea, is to create this network effect of many projects building on the same smart contract, which is the vault of Balancer V2.
总结来说的话，就是 Balancer 这个 V2 的产品，它不仅仅是一个简单的产品它更多是一个平台，是让其他的产品和项目就是在 Balancer 这个平台上创造的。然后它简单的来说 ，Balancer V2 它是做了一个类似于 Vault 一样，就是一个聚合的一个工具。然后比如说你是在一个 protocol 里面，就是存入了这个 token A 和 B 的话，然后你其实是等于就是进入了 Balancer 的这个 Balancer 的池，然后就是你只要进入这个 Balancer V2 的这个 Vault， 就等于你进入了Balancer 其他所有建筑在 Balancer protocol 上面的各种的 DeFi 产品。
好的，非常谢谢 Fernando 的回答和 Joe 的翻译。我这边提醒一下，我们的用户可以在哔哩哔哩的 chat 里面去留下你们的问题。我们今天是很好的机会，有问题可以问 Fernando。然后接下去我们是下一个问题 ，Balancer 有哪些重要的合作伙伴？您能否分享一下这些合作伙伴合作的进展，以及有没有新的合作伙伴正在酝酿当中？
Right. So the second question from the ADN community is what are like Balancer's major partner? And can you tell us how you are collaborating with them? And are there any new kind of partner in pipeline?
Sure, that's a great question. I would say our main partner is and has been for a long time Aave. We're pretty much friends and believe a lot in Aave and in their approach to lending markets, including AMM markets. So they also use Balancer tokens or pool tokens for their staking approach of the safety module. So it's this very interesting idea that it's actually being used by lots of projects that instead of staking the project token, you stake the pool token, the Balancer pool token of the project token and ETH. So instead of drying up liquidity by staking, because usually when you stake, you lock up your token and people cannot have that liquidity. Instead of locking the token itself, you lock the BPT of your project token and ETH. So you're actually locking liquidity. So you're contributing liquidity at the same time that you're staking. So let me pause here and I'll talk about the other partners as well. But I think Aave is definitely the most important one.
OK, so 就是Aave是一个借贷协议，是 DeFi 项目里面比较出名的。然后比较重要的伙伴，比如说就是这个 Aave 是从很早的时候就和这个 Balancer 产生了很多合作的关系。然后现在 Aave 是领先的这个借贷市场和 AMM 市场的一个 DeFi 蓝筹协议吧。然后他们用了这个 Balancer 的方式去设计他们的一些 staking 的机制。就是比如说这个你就是除了是用这个 staking，是用你的项目的这个原生的 token 去做 staking，现在其实它用 Balancer 这种模式是用的是 pool 的 token 做 staking， 然后也就是说，如果你是 staking 你的以太坊和你的 BPT token 的话，你其实是锁住了一部分的流动性 ，right?
Yeah. So that I think that said, there are lots of other partners that are very important as well that are have been integrating with Balancer since before we launched Balancer V2. For example, Element Finance, they had already implemented everything when we launched, so they pretty much launched with us. There are other very interesting protocols and teams that are doing asset management. So we believe that even though DEXs are very big today and very important, if you look at traditional finance, the exchange market is 10 times smaller than the asset management market. So if you see what BlackRock and Fidelity and all those asset managers make in revenues, it's 10 times more than what NASDAQ and NYSE and other exchanges make. So we believe that asset management is a big market that has not been yet tapped into. It's going to be evolving in the next year. So we have lots of partners going in that direction, like Index Finance and PowerPool. I would mention the two main ones, but there's more.
OK， 就是还有一些更多的合作伙伴，已经集成了这个Balancer 的 protocol 比如说 Element Finance， 然后他们已经就是implement 了很多东西了。然后还有一点值得说的就是这个资产管理的这个赛道吧。就比如说，如果你去看这个传统金融的话，像这个资产管理公司，比如说像 BlackRock 呀。它其实是比这种交易所，像 NASDAQ 这种交易所呀，是要大很多的。所以我们认为，就是资产管理的这个赛道是一个特别大的市场。然后目前来说，在 DeFi 还没有就是施展它的这个潜力吧。然后，但是他认为下一年的话，资产管理赛道会得到很大的会得到很大的提升。然后，比如说资产管理的一些做DeFi 资产管理的一些 protocol， 比如说 Index Finance， 还有这个 PowerPool， 对 ，right，
yeah， other partners are in other areas, not only building on top of Balancer, but for example, they are building UIs for Balancer pool, like tools or products. Like a very interesting product that Balancer empowers is the liquidity bootstrapping pool, which is used by projects to have their token generation events or token sale events. And I'm sure many of you have seen like many interesting and big LBPs, so tokens being launched on Balancer. I would mention Copper and PrimeDAO. They're building UIs for LBPs to be easier to use and for the teams that are doing the token sale events to be better supported by their teams. And I would say also like the biggest source of new partners is our new grants committee. So there is a team of people who are giving grants to teams come to us. And just to finalize, Halo DAO, Tempus, DHedge, and many others have already gotten grants from the grants committee.
就是它可能还有一些项目，它可能不是直接建造在这个 Balancer 的这个 protocol 池上，但是他们做了一些UI 的一些项目，就是在它的那个，比如说是这个Balancer 的这个 LBP 池就是通过比如说像就是它会做一些前端的 UI， 然后是让用户更简单的去使用这个 LBP 池，比如说 Copper 和 PrimeDAO， 还有一些比较重要的最近比较重要的合作伙伴，是我们的这个捐助的委员会，就是 Grant Community， 也就是这个 Balance Grant 这个，然后有很多团队的成员是给这个支持 Balancer 生态的项目去做很多的 grant， 比如说grant 项目，比如说有 Hello DAO、Tagus 和这个 DHedge 这些项目。
我们接下来一个问题是关于社群的。我们知道社群的支持是项目成功最重要的因素之一。那许多的项目都有与自己用户互动的环节。对于 Balancer 来说，你们有什么特别的计划来吸引和扩大社群和改善用户体验？以及为了让更多的人去了解 Balancer 和它的技术，你们有什么计划在社群当中进行普及和提高知名度呢？
Yeah. So the next question is about the community. Community is one of key elements for success of a crypto project. Most projects have there are like some campaign or marketing program for community engagement. Do you have like do Balancer team have any specific plan to improve the community engagement experience for like our supporters?
Community is really at the heart of our long-term vision. So for Balancer to be this leading platform for programmable liquidity, we need the community to be helping us understand what are the use cases that Balancer is good for, to spread the word, and also to show to developers and teams and other protocols that Balancer is a good option to use to build their protocols and products. So liquidity community is really the, like, I would say one of the most important pillars for Balancer's success. So just wanted to start with that, and then I can talk more about the initiatives that we have.
OK，就是社区的话是Balancer 项目长期的这个核心的一个战略的 vision， 然后我们是希望我们的那个社区成员知道我们这个开发的这个产品的使用如何去使用它，就是一些应用场景 use case， 然后去将这些讯息然后告诉DeFi 的社区吧。然后那社区是Balancer 最重要的一个支柱吧。然后接下来Fernando 会讲一些这些 example， 有一些例子，对 ，right。
So one nice badge or one nice name we call special community members is ballers. So who are ballers? Ballers are people who are very deeply engaged with Balancer and really working in different initiatives that all have the good of the protocol in mind. So they are not in any way paid by Balancer Labs, which is the company that I'm the CEO of that works for the protocol. So ballers are paid by the community. They have what we call a Ballary, which is a very interesting payment that's mostly vested long-term to make sure that the incentives are aligned long-term. And we actually have a very active baller who's a Chinese person, Joey Wong. And yeah, she recently joined, so we're very happy with ballers coming also from China and Asia. So please make sure that you are around in our Discord. Anyone can become a baller. There's lots of things that we want to be done, and we need people helping out. So let me close with the ballers, and then I can about the other stuff.
Sure. So 就比如说第一个这个社区的这个的例子，就是我们有一个项目叫 Ballers。那个这个 Baller 是什么意思呢？就是它是深度参与 Balancer 这个社区的建设的成员都可以叫 Ballers， 然后他这些成员都会比较积极的去主动的参与一些社区和治理的建设，然后但是他们不是通过这个 Balancer Lab， 也就是说 Fernando 他的这个entity 这个 entity 支付的这些钱，而是 Balancer Community、Balancer 社区支付给 Baller 的钱，报一些回报。然后我们有很多这种非常活跃的 Baller， 比如说最近就是来自中国的 Joy One， 然后他也是我们非常出名的一个活跃的 Baller。然后其实每个人都是可以成为这个 Baller， 就是你需要去留一些就是 Balancer 的 Discord 呀，然后去多参与一些社区的活动，然后就是可以多关注一下 Balancer 的 Discord。
Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, an example of activity that Joey Wong is helping with is the translation of everything that's in English documentation and the website to Chinese, but not only that, a lot of other stuff. So other than the ballers, we have different committees. I just mentioned answering the last question that we have the grants committee. So now the community through this committee, they are the ones responsible for giving out grants for projects that are building on top of Balancer. We also have the liquidity mining committee. that's led by Bakamoto, also a baller. They decide on how the liquidity mining BAO tokens will be distributed across the different pools. So if you have a project that you want to bring liquidity to Balancer, you can talk to the liquidity mining committee and ask for a joint incentive plan so that you give some of your tokens in liquidity mining, and Balancer can also give some BAO to the liquidity of your project.
OK， so 比如说刚才我们之前提到的这个社区的 Baller 成员 Joey Wang， 他其实就是帮助了Balancer 的团队去做了很多这种网站和 Doc 的编译工作，还有更多的一些其他的一些比较重要的事务。然后还有另外一个社区的建设，就是它有很多的这个委员会，就是 committee。这些 committee 的话，就是比如说我们现在有一个，但是这些 committee 背后也会形成一个非常强大的社区比如说最近我们有一个 grant committee， 就是它是通过就是去发放各种 grant 组成的一个治理协会。比如说是我们的有一个流动性挖矿的 committee， 就是这个小的社区会决定在各个项目去进入到这个Balancer 的流动池的时候，怎么样去给这些池它的 BAO 的 token 的奖励。如果你是一个项目方或者是一个 project 的话，你想要进入这个Balancer 进行流动性挖矿的话，你可以去接触这个 liquidity mining 的 committee， 然后社区会这些 committee 的社区会决定多少可以奖励你多少的 BAO token， 然后多少的 BAO token 会就是给予到不同的那个流动池里。对 ，Yeah。
The last thing I would mention in terms of increasing engagement and encouraging people to join or to exchange more with us are the community calls that we have. So we have a community call that's more open and not topic specific. It's really for the community to ask questions and to get to this two-way communication with the Balancer Labs team. That's every month, usually on the last Wednesday of the month. And we also have another call, which is a more technical call. So there we can talk more about the projects that Balancer Labs is working on, and developers can come to the call and ask more technical questions. Of course, they can ask questions anytime in Discord, but we have this call where, this open channel is there for anyone, which is usually in the middle of the month, also on Wednesday. So those two calls are ways how people could get engaged and ask questions and come talk to us, to Balancer Labs.
So I want to double check about the community call. It's like in the beginning of the month, or?
It's at the end, the community call at the end, last Wednesday of the month, usually. It has been this way until now. And the technical call is more in the middle, the second Wednesday of the month. Yeah.
OK， 就是还有一个可以参加这个 Balancer 社区建设的方式，就是这个 community call， 也就是咱们社区的电话，社区的这个会议，然后这个 community call 是更加的开放，然后任何成员想要去跟 Balancer Labs 的人的团队去交流的，都可以参加这个 community call。这个时间大概是每个月中的一个时期，就是月中14号、15号这种，是一般是通常是在周3举行。然后还有一个是专门为开发者服务的一个就是 technical call， 然后就是主要是跟这个开发者，然后你想就是问一些开发商在 Balancer 上开发的问题，可以参加这个technical call， 然后大概是在每个月中旬的时候，是在周3，而那 community call 大概是在每个月月末的时候，也是周3。Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
非常感谢 Fernando 的分享。接下来我们看几个社区大家现在讨论比较活跃的一些问题。有用户对 Grant 非常感兴趣，他问 Grant 申请 Balancer 的 Grant 申请有什么相应的规定吗？
Okay, so Fernando, so that's all for the prepared question from ADN. Right now we have some live question from Bilibili, and the first
Awesome.
question, the first question is some people ask from Bilibili. Lots of people are interested in Balancer Community Grant, which is a grant style. Maybe for next 3 to 5 months, which kind of a strategic direction the Balancer team is more focused on, so the community members can help to build this kind of ecosystem and apply the grant. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It does, yeah. So the things we're looking for is creative ways of using Balancer. New types of AM ideas, like let's say you're building perpetuals on Balancer. You're building a concentrated liquidity like Uniswap v3 on Balancer, which is possible. Anything is possible because Balancer is fully customizable. Or you're building a new low-cost trading pool on Balancer. So what we're really looking for is for people to build creative ideas, and also not only from a technical standpoint, but also from really a product market fit standpoint. So what are things that people are needing in terms of asset management, for example, that you could do using Balancer? So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking for. And of course, if your project is already looking to build on top of Balancer anyways, but you need some help to pay developers or to pay audits, Balancer grants are also meant to support small teams that are really scrambling to get funding and who are not really at a stage where they could have a good valuation from VCs. Balancer grants have already been given to teams that really need this extra push to get a product out there, and that product uses Balancer in a nice way.
Sure. So double check for last one, like a project. You mentioned building this log pulse creating pool. Like what does it mean? Constant after the constant liquidity on Balancer. What is
concentrated liquidity. So that's just an example of interesting use case, and that has been pioneered by Uniswap v3. So
sure.
Yeah, you can say I want just to put liquidity between those two prices. That is possible in Balancer v2, but it just has to be programmed, right? It has to be coded. So that's just an example of something that you could build using our fully customizable and flexible architecture. So basically, Balancer v2 is kind of an open field for you to build any logic on top, and still take advantage of the fact that the vault takes care of all the accounting of the tokens. It holds the tokens. It makes sure that they can't be stolen. So all you have to do is the logic, how to handle those tokens. So that's pretty powerful.
Okay. So 就是能申请这个 grant 到的团队和这些要求，它没有一个特别具体的要求，但是就是还是希望就是开发者能更有创意的使用 Balancer 这个 protocol，因为 Balancer 的现在的开发这种平台是非常就是可以更多的个性化的，然后很多的参数都是可以自己设计，但是最重要的话就是这个逻辑比如说就是你可以做一个这个永续合约在 Balancer 上，或者是做一个像Uniswap 这种微税，它是集中流动性的这个 AMM 在 Balancer 上。然后那如果不是就是从开发的角度上，其实如果是做项目的话，其实就是大家也可以去看一下，可以去思考一下，就是如何去在 Balancer 上做一些像资产管理类的一些项目因为就刚才也说了，就是资产管理是未来很大的一个方向那如果是一个项目方的话，他已经决定在 Balancer 上就是开发项目的话如果你现在是需要招一些比较小的开发团队，或者是要付一些 audit 的钱的话audit 的费用的话 我们就是 Balancer Team 也会通过这个 grant 的形式去捐助一些小的 funding，然后如果就是那个项目还没有成长到可以去 push 给为 C 的那个阶段的话，也可以通过 grant 道的形式帮他做助力一把，然后主要就是 Balancer 的 V2 是一个非常可扩展的一个平台，然后最重要的就是如何去利用好这个 Vault，这个 Vault，然后就是还有就是你做的那个业务的逻辑 ，right？
And just to finalize that answer, Joe, I would like to mention where you can apply for a grant, which is very important information. It's at balancer.community. Balancer.community is a website that's not affiliated with Balancer Labs. It's has been created by Ballers and by the grants committee. And there you're going to see a link how to apply for Balancer community grants. So do go to that web page, and if you have ideas, they don't have to be finalized. So the grants committee also helps to refine your ideas. So if you're not 100% sure, oh, this is a grant idea or worth a grant, just apply for it, and then the committee will get in touch with you and make sure they understand better the idea, and kind of work with you to get it to a stage where it deserves a grant.
是，就是最后就是再加一个总结的吧，就是那么比较重要的就是如何去申请这个 grants 的这个地方呢？这个网址是一个是那个网站是 balancer.community， 那这个网站的话，不是被这个 Balancer Labs 这个 entity 创建的，而是被这个核心社区成员这个 Ballers 社区所创建和维护的。如果就是你的这个项目或者是你个人的这个想法还没有就是出行的话，但是也没关系，可以去与这个 Balancer Baller 的这个团队社区去接触，这些开发者社区会就是更加去帮助你去完善打磨你的这个想法吧，然后 Ballers 会和 Ballers 社区会就是帮助你就是助你一臂之力这种，对 ，right。
好的，接下来我们看下一个社区提问。有用户问 ，LBP 是目前最受欢迎的代币发行方式之一。那 LBP 有什么重大更新吗？与其他的方式相比，它的一个资本效率是怎么样的
？So next question from the Bilibili like live streaming is LBP, like a liquidity bootstrapping pool from a Balancer. LBP is one of most favorite methods for token launch. Is there any major update for LBP? This is like feature, and how capital efficient is it compared to other methods?
Sure. So the first answer is yes, there is. So LBPs up until now, they have been using Balancer V1, and now they will start using Balancer V2, I think this month already. The first LBPs on Balancer V2 will start this month. And Copper and PrimeDAO, those two partners are working on the UI to make them easy to use. But it will be very cheap to use to trade with Balancer V2 LBPs. I think the nicest feature we're looking forward to have, it's not going to be probably this month, but likely in October, the fact that you can leave market orders, or sorry, limit orders. So if you think the LBP price is going to drop still a lot, you don't have to wait and kind of submit your order live. You can say, I wanted to buy for, I don't know, $2. Now the price is $5, but you say, I want to buy for $2. And then you can go away and do whatever you want. When the price hits $2, or if the price hits $2, your order will be automatically executed. So this is, I think, a very nice improvement in UX that we're looking forward to. But LBPs are going to be really big in Balancer V2. It's just the costs, the capital efficiency is even higher than on Balancer V1. So for teams who want to start there or do a token sale event, please come talk to us, and we can kind of explain in more detail.
OK， 所以说这个就是关于这个 LPBP 的问题的重大更新的答案是的，是它已经有了比较重大的更新，尤其是现在这个月推出的 V2 和上次的 V1 相比的话，比如说现在两个项目 Cooper DAO 和这个 Cooper 和 Prime DAO 这两个项目正在就是开发这个V2 LBP 的这个 UI， 就是它的前端，然后主要是目的就是为了让零售用户更好的使用这个产品。那它跟之前比的话，这个 LBP 的 V2 会更便宜。然后大概在10月份，也就是下个月，有一个比较重要的功能，就是你可以用这个你可以用 Balancer LBP 的这个 Limit Order， 就是它是这个限价单吧。也就是说，如果你是现在比如说这个价格在 LBP 上是大概是5美金，然后你想要等它的这个价格跌到2美金的时候再买，其实你是可以到10月份你是可以使用这个限价单的功能，就是挂2美金的订单，然后就离开，然后等如果这个价格一旦 touch 到2美金的话，LBP 它的这个 V2 的 LBP 会给你以2美金成交。然后在 V2 里面 LBP 是比较重要的一个功能。然后从资本效率来说的话，它肯定是要比 V1 提高很多。那如果现在有很多项目想要在接下来做一些这个 LBP 就 token 发行的话，可以去联系那个 Balancer 的社区。Yeah。
好的，接下来我看到评论区里大家非常关心的一个问题是 Balancer 最近上线了 Arbitrum， 那 Balancer 对于在 Arbitrum 网络上面用户是否会有一些奖励，是否会鼓励用户迁移到 Arbitrum 网络上去？
Okay, so one question from comments people notice like Balancer have integrated with this Ethereum Layer 2 projects Arbitrum. Is there any like incentive campaign or like incentive mining from a Balancer with this kind of Arbitrum integration?
Yes, that's correct. So we launched on the first day that Arbitrum launched. We were already integrated and launched with them. And the answer is yes. Since this Monday, that is since yesterday, we have 2 pools that are incentivized on Arbitrum, BAO and WETH, and WBTC, WETH, USDC. So those 2 pools are at this exact moment, they are yielding 135% APR, and the second one 83% APR. Of course, this is no investment advice, and I think it's still the early days of Arbitrum, so it's not so easy to bridge tokens to Arbitrum. It can be done, but people are still learning about it. That's why I think the APRs are so high in this initial phase, but probably they will go down like they did on Polygon. They started very high and then they went down, but I think still it's definitely a great incentive for you to try out Balancer on Arbitrum and get some juicy APR.
Okay, yeah. 是的，就是在 Arbitrum 上线的第一天，我们就已经有这个集成 Arbitrum 的流动池了。从昨天来说，周一的话，已经现在有两个就是有 token 配对的池在Balancer V2 上，然后分别的 yielding 大概是超过100和80多的 APR， 然后这就不是一个投资建议嘛。但是因为现在 Arbitrum 还是比较早期所以就是在 bridge 资产的时候，它不是特别容易 然后其他的话就是说，因为是早期嘛，所以 APR 它现在可能比较高，可能之后就像在 Polygon 那些 Layer 2上面，它之后的 APR 可能会下来。对，所以就是答案是现在在 Arbitrum 上已经有2个 pool 了，就是有兴趣的话可以去尝试。对啊。
好的，接下来是关于有用户问到 Balancer 每周在 ETH 和 Polygon 上推出的流动性挖矿计划，它的奖励机制是怎么样的？普通用户如何参与？这是否是一个长期的计划
？Another like a liquidity mining questions about Balancer's weekly liquidity mining program. It launched both on ETH and Polygon. So how is the reward mechanism, and how can a normal user engage this program? Is it a long-term program? Yeah.
Yes, it's a long-term program. The Polygon team is discussing extending the Matic side of the rewards, of the incentives that they have been given. Balancer has 25,000 BAO every week that is distributed to LPs on Polygon. And there's like a lot more pools on Polygon than there are on Arbitrum, just because we've been longer on Polygon. But there are teams like MStable. They're doing joint incentives with us. And also QiDao, they are also giving their tokens, and Wmatic, and so yeah, there's like all those different joint incentives, and that is something you can see. It's still an early day, but something that the community created, and I can read that again to you, Joe. Balancer -incentives.web.app. So it's kind of a work in progress page, but it shows all the different pages, all the different pools that have liquidity mining incentives. I'm going to write it down in our chat so you can read it.
All right. So can I repeat the name, like the website? Balancer.
Yes, I just sent it in our chat here. Balancer.
Sure.
-incentives.web.app. And yeah, just disclaimer, it's by the community, sure. And it's work in progress, but it works pretty well.
就是关于那个流动性挖矿的这个回答，就是它其实是一个长期的，就是在 Polygon 这个 Layer 2上，然后就是 Polygon 这个团队呢也已经就是延长了它的 Matic 的奖励嘛，然后大概每周的话 ，Balancer 会大概有25000多个 BLL token 会给到这个 Polygon 的 user，比如现在还有一些就是我们就是叫联合起来的，就是合作的激励机制的团队，比如说 MStable、QiDao，然后这些团队都会一起就是去奖励一些流动性挖矿的 token， 但是就是现在还是在这个 DeFi 的生态的早期，所以就是这些会长期的还是在摸索阶段吧。然后如果是想关注更多的信息的话，可以去这个网站，就是 balancer-incentives.wep.app 这个网站去查阅。然后这个网站的话也是这个 Balancer 的社区成员自发运维的。对 ，right.
Just one final shout out that was a baller who built this page, Zenas. So yeah, shout out to Zenas for this amazing tool.
Yeah, sure. 就是这个网站的话，想要帮他去打 call 一下，就是这个网站其实是Balancer 社区的成员 Zenas 做的。然后就是大家有兴趣的话，可以多去这个网站上面查阅各类的 incentives 项目。
好的，接下来是我们最后一个问题。有用户问到，最近与 Balancer 团队合作的一些知名项目推出了 MetaStable 的 激励计划。那么这些矿池的机制是什么？用户如何从这个激励计划中受益？目前哪个项目已经启动了 MetaStable 的池子？
Right. This is the last question from the community. Recently, a few well-known projects partnered with BioTeam launched the Manta Stable Incentive Program. So what is the mechanism of these pools and how users can benefit from this incentive program? Which project already launched the Manta Stable Pool by far?
That's a great question, and I probably should have mentioned Lido, which is this project as one of our main partners. It's a new one. Like we just recently started this Meta Stable project with them. So the idea is that instead of having two tokens that are always pegged one-to-one, we have a pool that's WETH, wrapped ETH, and wrapped staked ETH. So staked ETH is the token that Lido makes possible, like for anyone to have staking rewards, staking APR on ETH2, but in a decentralized way. So the nice thing of this pool is that it adapts for the fact that the price of wrapped staked ETH is going up. So a wrapped staked ETH is increasing by the APR of the staking rewards. So it goes up, but still the price is kind of adapting so that the liquidity is always around that evolving, that increasing price. It's a bit technical, but the fact is that it's today probably the best place where you could put ETH without any impermanent loss risk, right? Because it's not ETH and another token, it's ETH and staked ETH. So there are other projects that are looking to build metastable pools with us that are in the works, so work in process.
比如说在这个 MetaStable 的这个 launch 的像这些 incentive program 里面，它比较重要的就是这个 Lido 就是一个 ETH2 的这种流动性的一个衍生品的一个 DeFi 的去中心化的解决方案。然后Lidos 它最近就是在Balancer 上推出的这个 MetaStable 这个池。然后就是这个 MetaStable 的池跟普通池不太一样，就是比如说传统的池是这种两个的这种 token 的话，在 Lido 的这个池里面，它是允许你去放入这个 stake 的意思，就是你已经 stake 进去的意思，它给出来的这个 token 和 wrapped ETH，这样子的话就是会因为他们俩都是 ETH， 然后他们如果是把它们存入池的话，就等于是没有这个imperial loss， 就是没有它的无偿损失然后还有更多的一些项目准备做的这个 MetaStable 的池，现在还正在进行中。Also want to double check about the details about MetaStable, like you deposit the stake ETH with the wrapped ETH into the MetaStable pool, right? So there is no LL,
exactly.
Right.
There's no impermanent loss. Yeah.
OK, so 就是把那个 stake ETH， 就是 Lido 的那个 token， 然后和 wrap ETH 存入这个 MetaStable pool 的话，你就等于可以有一个 APR， 但是你其实是没有流动那个无偿损失的。Right. Yeah.
好的。最后我们问一下 Fernando 还有什么想对我们中文社区说的话吗？
Oh, right. Fernando, so this is all question from a Chinese speaking community. So what's your do you have some more comments for like today's AMA for Chinese speaking audience or balance community? Yeah.
So I've been saying that for a long time, and yeah, it's so important that the Asian and especially the Chinese community is involved in the Balancer community, because you have a different way of looking at things, and you add a lot of value to ideas in terms of product and product market fit. There's a lot of things that don't work in the Western world, but work really well in the Eastern world, in China especially, and vice versa. So yeah, China is just like such an important community and market, and has so many developers as well, which is one of, if not the most important audience of Balancer. So I would really love to see more of you Chinese people coming to our Discord and building projects on top of Balancer. There are already a lot, so I'm very happy. And I would love to keep the communication open. Unfortunately, I don't speak Chinese, but we have such great translators like Joe and Xiaowei and everyone here. So let's talk more, and I would be very happy to do this AMA more times. I don't know, every 2 months, or we can talk about it. But please do come for our community hall meetings. And if you have some trouble with English, you don't need to talk. You can write your questions. So you can take your time, use Google Translate. And yeah, so I just wanted to thank you so much for being involved and being interested in Balancer. And we'll do our best to include you, to translate the webpage, to translate all the documentations, and have always this open channel of communication. So yeah, thank you so much for your questions as well, and your interest in being here.
好的，翻译一下，就是亚洲的话，亚洲呀，还有就是中文市场，还有中国的这些用户呢，是就是在 Balancer 社区里面是非常重要的组成部分。比如说，通常在西方的那个互联网DeFi 世界里面不存在的这种 product market fit， 就是它可能没有的产品的这个需求的一个匹配的一个市场，但是在东方可能是非常受欢迎，然后反之也亦然。然后就是比如中文社区是在这个 Balancer 里面是非常重要的社区，然后我们就是 Balancer 希望更多的中文用户进入这个官方的这些，就进入 Balancer 社区的 Discord， 然后还有就是基于 Balancer 做一些项目和产品，然后Fernando 非常就是希望以后可以多做一些此类中文的 AMA， 然后比如说2个月1次，然后一些朋友也可以进入这个社区里面，如果是英语不好的话，也可以用这种 Google Translator， 就是用一些翻译器。然后社区成员会尽可能的就是回复，然后大家就可以交流。然后未来的话 Balancer Team 也会更多的翻译这个网站和各种的 Docs 文件翻译成中文，然后以便中文世界的用户第一时间可以获得这些 Balancer 项目的信息。Yeah, thanks, Fernando.
我们今天非常高兴 Fernando 能够来到我们中文社区参加这一场 AMA， 希望大家可以继续关注我们 ADN 社区和 Balancer 社区后续的活动，并且加入到我们的微信群和 Discord 群当中。入群的方式呢，大家可以在微信公众号和微博搜索 ADN Community， 添加 ADN 小助手，然后小助手就会把你拉到我们的群中 ADN 的群和 Balancer 的群。那非常感谢大家能够参加今天的 AMA， 下期再见。Hi Fernando, thank you very much for joining this AMA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.